So what's up, people? This is Robert Bassano. I'm coming to you guys today. I got a follow-up email from the special agent in charge and resident investigator for NASA's Office of Inspector General Investigations Division. These are the guys that investigate fraud, waste, and abuse with NASA. Any type of contracting programs, you name it. They take complaints. So I got a follow-up email from, and it was pretty quick. It took them literally less than 24 hours to get back to me. And what I want to bring to you guys today is that the recommendation that was provided to me was that I contact the Goddard Space Center's Hubble Space Telescope team, HST. So we're going to do that today together. And we're going to see if we can get a hold of one of these team members. We're going to go down the list. I'm not going to go through the complete list, but we're going to dial their number together, and we're going to see how we can actually talk to one of these people to see if we can get some clear-cut answers on why on NASA's website there's no real-time video at all of the Hubble. There's only computer graphic generated images and video of what Hubble's supposedly supposed to be doing. Okay? Ain't nothing fucking top secret about space, people. If Hubble's looking out there, we should be able to see everything they see. Not something that's fucking redacted or watered down or computer generated to, you know, basically siphon out the whatever the fuck is else out there looking at. Or even make a determination if the fucking thing even exists. I don't think it exists, but the question I'm going to ask one of these people who might answer the phone is, you guys got every other STS mission that serviced Hubble, but why isn't Hubble in the Federation Aeronautic International database? Okay? NASA is actually a member of this organization. It's older than NASA, so I want to know why they didn't file the application to put it in the record books as the greatest mass lifted to the greatest altitude. Okay? So let's see what they say. Let's dial the number. The number I was provided was 301-286-2000. So let's see what we can see. Okay?
Thank you for calling NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, located on Greenbelt Road in Greenbelt, Maryland, 20771. Please select one of the following. For directions to the center, press 1. For Departmental Directory, press 2. For NASA Employee Directory, press 3.
Spell the last and first name, then press pound. For Q, press 7. For Z, press 9. For help, press 0.
So they're asking me to spell the last name. Let's spell Krause's last name. So we got C-R-O-U-S-E.
For
Patrick Krause.
at extension 61067, press pound. To cancel, press star.
Press pound. Okay. Immediately disconnected as soon as we pressed his extension. So let's try one more time. Pat Krause, as soon as we click the number,
Thank you for calling
they hung up
NASA
on us.
Goddard Space Flight Center, located on Greenbelt Road in Greenbelt, Maryland, 20771. Please select one of the following. For directions to the center, press 1. For Departmental Directory, press 2. Please select one of the following. For Public Affairs, press 1. For Visitor Center, press 2. For the Office of Human Capital Management, press 3. For Security Office, press 4. For Procurement, press 5. For Excess Sales, press 6. For Library, press...
Let's try that one more time, people.
Thank you for calling NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, located on Greenbelt Road in Greenbelt, Maryland, 20771. Please select one of the following. For directions to the center, press 1. For Departmental Directory, press 2. For NASA Employee Directory, press 3.
Spell the last and first name, then press pound. For Q, for
Patrick Krause.
at extension 61067, press pound. To cancel, press star.
Press pound. Mr. Krause, not available. Let's try the next gentleman, Mr. Jim Jelic. Jelitic.
Thank you for calling NASA.
Okay.
Spell the last and first name, then press pound. For Q,
A-E-L-E-T-I-C.
there are two matching names. Select the name by number. For new search, press star. For
Peter Bertoni.
at extension 60674, press 1. For
Telekinetic.
at extension 40980, press 2. No.
Okay. Deputy Project Manager, not there. Let's go to Mission Operations Manager, Dave Haskins. Let's see if we can reach Mr. Haskins.
Thank you.
Spell the last and first name, then press pound. For Q, there are four matching names. Select the name by number. For new search, press star. For
Delving Harkins.
at extension 65075, press 1. For
Dave Haskins.
at extension 62114, press 2.
Dave Haskins. Number immediately fucking hangs up. This is fucking incredible, people. None of these fucking people are available.
Thank you for calling NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Look,
Spell the last and first name, then press pound. For Q, press 7. For for
Mike.
at extension 61437, press pound. To cancel, press star.
This is Mike.
Mike, Miss Linsky?
Yes.
Mr. Miss Linsky, sorry about that. This is Robert Bassano. How are you? I'm a graduate student. I wanted to know if there was just a couple of questions you could help me out with some answers. I'm on you guys' website right now, and it's regarding Hubble.
Okay.
Okay.
Who are you with?
I'm a graduate student at university.
Okay. What?
I'm working on a math lab image processing toolbox application that processes a variety of images to determine the relation with other images that might have been manipulated or amended, or maybe it was to determine the original source. So for a project that I'm involved in, I'm actually using some of the images from Hubble and Sophia to conduct comparative analysis. That's it. So I have some questions regarding HST that would help me out with kind of understanding a little bit more about some of the photos that are and images that are available on your guys' website that I'm looking at right now.
Okay. Well, I would have to refer you to our Science Institute for talking about the science images.
Well, no, I don't need to talk about the science images per se. Okay, I'm wanting to know if there are any available video images or any other assets in GeoSync that actually conduct sort of an inspection, a video or photographic inspection of HST as it goes around in GeoSync. Because I'm looking at all the videos you guys have online on NASA's website, and all the videos that I've seen, they're all CGI and computer generated, you know, illustrations and other type of computer generated images that are not original source, coming straight from Hubble or any other asset vehicle that may be within range of Hubble to take photographs of it.
Okay, but again, I would have to refer you to our Science Institute.
Well, you're the deputy missions operations manager, right?
Yes, I am, but I'm not at liberty to talk to you about specific Hubble items.
Well, I'm not asking for specific Hubble items. I mean, well, let me ask this general question: are you able to view Hubble in real time?
To view Hubble in real time? No,
Yeah. Are you able to obtain and view a real-time image of Hubble as it is right now, wherever it is?
No, we can't do that.
Or is there any other vehicle that can view Hubble in operation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can I ask you how long you've been working on the team with the HST team?
I've been with HST over 25 years.
Now, have there been any real-time video, high-definition video images of Hubble at 330 miles or so?
Not that I'm aware of.
There are none.
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow. Yeah, so S&T wouldn't be able to tell me anything. I mean, you're the DMO, you're the DMOM, and you're saying in 25 years you've never seen Hubble actually in real time.
Well, we certainly had servicing missions.
Well, yeah, you've had servicing missions, but you're not able to see what's going on with Hubble from the ground in real time.
We do not have optical tracking of Hubble from the ground. That's true.
Okay, so you don't have optical tracking of Hubble from the ground?
No, we don't.
Wow. So if let's just say if I use my Celestron, there's no way for me to actually get a real-time visual of Hubble as it say was passing over Virginia.
You might be able to, track the sunlight that lens off of it.
Well, wait. I'll be able to track what?
Sunlight reflecting off of it. But operationally, we did not look at the vehicle, from the ground. These radio signals that transmit engineering data from the vehicle to us, but we do not look at it physically.
Okay, when STS missions or any other mission goes up to service Hubble, well, I mean, the last time Hubble was serviced was the last shuttle mission, right?
Well, not the last shuttle mission, but we were last serviced in 2008.
Now, so the last servicing mission was in 2008, and from the research I did, I think they put up the WFPC-3 camera, right? That was the last camera installed.
Right.
Okay. So when they service, what altitude is Hubble at when STS goes up to service it? I mean, does it drop down to an altitude where STS, can get within range of it? Or does STS go up to that altitude?
The space shuttle goes up to that altitude.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this, because ISS is somewhere around 230, 240. Hubble's supposed to be almost 100 miles above ISS. But I've never seen any video from servicing where any STS mission has gone that far out above ISS. I mean, I know we have geosync out there, way above that, but I've never seen that. That's what I'm trying to look for. I'm trying to find video in NASA's archive where they actually show the mission with them approaching and doing the orbits to, gain altitude to get to Hubble. Or is there there's no other video available of that? I mean, I can understand if there is video and it's classified, that's completely understandable. No one's ever going to see that. That's classified data. But are there any open source videos that would show this?
They would actually show it from outside of the space shuttle. You talking about something watching the space shuttle?
Yeah, just showing STS actually getting ready to approach Hubble to capture it so it can be serviced.
No, I know no video showing that.
So, as Deputy Mission Operations Manager, and this is more of a mathematical question, maybe you can or cannot answer it. I had watched a video of Don Pettit talking about the tyranny of the rocket equation. So, based on the weight of Hubble, I'm still trying to figure out the math on how much fuel. Was there more than 93 or 95% fuel required to get 25,000-pound telescope up in geosync?
Are you talking about the fuel on the space shuttle?
Yeah, I mean when HST launched, when HST launched, that's 25,000 pounds.
They actually took us to the highest altitude possible that they could achieve.
And what was that?
With the space shuttle. Pardon?
What was that altitude?
Oh, I'd have to look that up. I don't know that number offhand.
Because I looked at about a dozen videos with telemetry data, and I always see STS separate from the main fuel tank at around 340, 350,000 feet, and then it continues on, accelerating and gaining velocity so it could get at terminal velocity of around 17,000. But then from there, I've never seen any other footage where STS is gone higher than ISS.
Well, it's certainly, like you said, we're about 100 miles above ISS.
Yeah, it's about 100. Now, let me. The one critical question I want to ask is this: are you familiar with the Federation Aeronautique Internationale database, the FAI.org?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Well, I am, and NASA's actually a member of FAI. Every single, I wouldn't say every single STS mission, but I'd say about 2/3 of the STS missions, specifically the servicing missions for HST, are in this database. It's FAI.org, Federation Aeronautique Internationale. And when I put in the data for STS-31 on April 24th, 1990, nothing comes up. So I decided to use some other search query factors. I put in the crew members' names. Nothing comes up. I put in the STS mission number. Nothing comes up. So then I decided, okay, this falls under another category, and they have a list of category that describe, one or more astronauts traveling to a celestial body, one or more astronauts, the amount of time they spent in space, so on and so forth, durations. So I decided to click on the selection that says greatest mass lifted to greatest altitude. Okay, so I automatically and logically assumed that STS was one of the greatest mass, if not the greatest mass lifted to greatest altitude of 330 miles, and there's nothing in the database. So over a period of 4 months, I kept checking the database, and FAI actually they shut down the website and then updated their database. And I'm not sure if this was direct, but I had sent them an email saying, I'm looking for this particular mission on this particular date. Here goes the data. Is there a possibility that you have a problem updating your database? Could you please let me know or correct this? So a few days later, the website went down and it came back up. So I went searching for the data again. Now, I'm making a weekly habit of doing this. Checking, because maybe it's just some sort of database entry error that's common in just about every single local, national, international database with that type of error that may occur where maybe I'm not using the right search criteria. So I sent FAI.org an email asking them, could you please let me know if I'm not looking at this the right way? Could you locate this information in your database? They sent me back an email telling me, no, this was not registered in our database. No one filed an application for this to be put into the record book. So the conclusion I'm coming to is this: is there a reason why NASA didn't put HST in the record books, but they put every servicing mission in the record books? Because every servicing mission is listed, but STS-31 on April 24, 1990 is not listed.
I can't speak to that, but obviously that's not a NASA database.
No, I do. I understand that, but again, I know it's not a database that NASA maintains in the database at all. So I please forgive me for saying this. Just please forgive me, and I don't want it to sound like some sort of crackpot idea or weird conspiracy, because that's not where I'm going with this. I have to say that I'm questioning that Hubble is even where they say it is. Because why wouldn't a $1.5 billion telescope, which is being used by every university around the world and every scientist who's involved in any kind of astrophysics, astrodynamics, just space exploration period, if we're getting these images from Hubble and Sophia, which is a 747 special purpose, with the same exact technical specifications when it comes to the telescope, Sophia is taking the same exact pictures of Hubble. And that's where the disparity in image analysis comes in, because I have a half a dozen photos I took off from NASA's website for Hubble and Sophia, and when I ran them through MATLAB's image processing toolbox for comparative analysis, those images came from the same source, and it wasn't at 330 miles above the surface of the Earth. So that's
interesting.
That's where I'm trying to understand. I'm mostly into IT, sir. That's what I do. I'm into information technology, security engineering, and database management. And I know NASA has a massive database. You guys got over a dozen supercomputers all around the country, all around the world, that need to be managed just about by any and everybody. And their tasks are solely to keep the systems up to date and make sure they're operating efficiently and effectively, so that you can be able to go to your computer terminal and type up a query, and that information comes up literally in a nanosecond. That's how readily available it is. So my problem right now is that it makes no sense to me and why STS-31 is not in the database. And you confirm that you've worked for them for 25 years, and nobody sitting at Goddard who's on the Hubble team has ever seen Hubble in real time conducting any operations on the ground that could have been shot from another satellite asset with a high definition camera and imaging to take a picture of Hubble. The only videos go ahead.
Why would you expect anybody to do that?
Well, I'm going to explain to you why. Because I used to be in the military, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. You don't send out a drone or an ROV and not have cameras on it so that you can track where it's going and where it's at and what might come in contact with it to interfere with its operations. And just to be honest with you, if paying my taxes, $1.5 billion, I'd want to keep an eye on that asset. Not just from signal and telemetry data, but I also, in the year, in the 21st century, I need to have eyes on when I need to have eyes on, just in case something went wrong.
Well, if something goes wrong, it wouldn't be something external necessarily.
No, that's not. I wouldn't say that that's so, because I know of at least a few events where Hubble had to be retasked because it had to avoid collision with something else that was up there.
Well, you're misinformed then.
Well, I can't be misinformed if the data actually came from NASA.
Could you point me to where it says that Hubble was actually retasked because of some external, I'll call it a threat, or external, object?
No, I mean, it had to be flipped around. It had to be maneuvered to go to either go to a higher altitude or change its trajectory because there was something up there that might have collided with another satellite from another country.
Well, you are sadly misinformed then.
Okay.
Because Hubble doesn't even have a propulsion system, so it can't possibly change its orbit by itself.
So how does it move position? How do you change the position of it?
I suggest that you build up a little bit more on.
No, I mean, I have the data right up in front of me. I mean, it's right on your website. It's right here, spacecraft and instruments. I'm looking, it's right on the left-hand side. It's an entire PDF. It says what the Hubble's capabilities are, how it maneuvers, how it changes direction.
That's just rotating the vehicle. That is not changing altitude. That is not changing trajectory. That is not changing orbit.
Okay.
That is just changing its orientation.
So you're saying that Hubble actually stays at the same altitude through every orbit, and it doesn't decay in altitude. It doesn't lose altitude.
It loses altitude because of atmospheric drag.
Okay, so when it loses altitude, so over 20 years at 330 miles, we do the mathematics, ISS loses somewhere between 1.5 to 2 miles every 3 to 5 minutes. So what is keeping, over 20 years, Hubble should actually almost be within 10 miles of ISS.
Well,
sir, I've done the math. I don't know about you, sir, but I've done the math. At 340 miles, that's what's on your website, 15 orbits a day, Hubble should actually be nearly within 10 miles of ISS if ISS is actually at somewhere around 220, 245 miles. That's the stated standard data. I've actually seen data on NASA's website. It's clear as day. I can send you the information where actually ISS has gone from 245 miles to 190 miles above the surface of the Earth. And then it jumped. And then they fired whatever thrusters or whatever to put it back up into its normal geosync orbit at low Earth altitude elliptical orbit. So if you're saying I'm not disagreeing. Yes, Hubble is losing altitude. But if that's the case and there's nothing to propel it back up to its original operating altitude of 340 miles, over a 20-year period, Hubble should be, this year, within 10 to 20 miles of the ISS.
Well,
Visual line of sight, no optical
are you familiar
assessment
with
or adjustment.
mechanics?
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with orbital mechanics?
Yes, sir, I am.
Are you familiar with atmospheric drag?
Yes, sir, I am. I know that Hubble, I know the ISS.
Solar cycle?
I'm sorry, sir?
Are you familiar with the solar cycle
Yes, sir, I am.
and its effect on the atmosphere?
Yes, sir, I am. I've been doing nothing but studying that for 3 years.
Okay, so obviously, during solar minimums, the atmosphere contracts and there's very, very little drag at Hubble's altitude. So your 2 miles per year is a very gross oversimplification.
No, I didn't say 2 miles per year. No, I didn't say 2 miles per year. ISS is 100 yards long, 50 yards wide, give or take. Okay, it's 3 to 5 times the size of Hubble. Okay, so you have a larger mass, traveling at somewhat maybe a comparable speed. It's at lower altitude, so yes, you're going to have more drag. Hubble's at 100 supposed to be 100 miles above that, so yes, you're going to have less atmosphere, but a little bit more. You're still going to have the atmospheric drag because neither vehicle is in free space, a vacuum.
Right.
Neither vehicle.
And also, the Hubble orbit was raised during the servicing on 2 of the servicing missions.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I agree with you on that because I looked at the servicing missions, and it seems as though each servicing mission, Hubble dropped down based on its 15 orbits a day. If it's behaving the same way the ISS is, losing about a mile and a half to 2 miles every 5 minutes in an elliptical fashion, if Hubble's doing the same thing, that means that the STS servicing missions were able to get within a specific distance of it at a specific time to capture it, and then once they service it, they basically jettison it back up to where it should have been, which is around 330, 340 miles. But then after 2008, the last servicing mission, we're looking at 8 years. So again, you factor in from 2008 to now, within this year, Hubble's going to be within 10 to 20 miles of ISS. That's mathematics, sir. That's the mathematics that you and I've learned. Give or take. I don't have a supercomputer, so I can't do the exact numbers, but the rough calculations tell me that Hubble could be within visual eyesight view without a telescope, without binoculars. You'd be able to have literally line of sight from ISS to take maybe a Canon 100mm, 300mm camera, flip around backwards and take a photo of it when it passes over the ISS.
Well, I do not know what the ISS current altitude is.
Well, I think the current altitude of ISS should be somewhere, because ESA actually listed. And again, I mean, I had asked this question of why isn't, HST in this international database. I know someone at NASA is submitting the application for all other STS missions. Why didn't someone decide to submit the most important piece of technology ever to exist to mankind, put it in the international database? No other country is ever going to launch something that big, especially a telescope. Right now, the ISS is at, according to this data, it says the ISS is at 251.77 miles, 76. It's dropping right now. And its velocity is 17,166 miles. Longitude 153.883, actually 154. Latitude is 39.517. That's where ISS is right now. Of course, they don't have any, there's no similar database online to do the same thing for Hubble. And that's understandable. But
but there is.
Is there a website for same as ISS?
Well, I don't know what you're using for ISS.
Well, I'm using ISS Tracker. ISStracker.com.
Okay.
And ESA actually listed as well. European Space Agency. Yeah, I'm using ISStracker.com. This is real-time data. Supposedly real-time data.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's plenty of satellite tracking apps that have a large database.
I have about 20 of them in my repertoire that I can check. Can't check them simultaneously, but I go after the ones that are reliable because I've found a few sites where they actually try to manipulate the data, but these are third parties who have no affiliation to the space agency. So ISS Tracker actually uses the data right off of the European Space Agency.
Okay. Well, there's certainly similar ones for Hubble. I mean, you can get Hubble's real-time position. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to waste a lot of your time, Mike. It concerned me. I'm going to be honest with you. It really concerned me that HST was not in an international database, but the servicing missions are.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you put all the servicing missions, but you wouldn't put the primary mission to even put the vehicle where it is? I got another theory too on atmospheric drag that I'm actually playing around with. I'm starting to look deeper into superfluid helium-4, and it's just one of those type of things that I've seen it do some really strange things in a laboratory setting, and some other colleagues of mine at the university were actually entertaining the idea, the possibility, theoretically, that the upper atmospheres beyond HST could be superfluid helium. It's zero viscosity, but what we're trying to ascertain is, could it be actually a combination of what CERN and NASA are considering to be dark matter or dark fluid, which is absorbing 99.96% of all visible light. And that's why when you're looking at these videos of HST being serviced, you see absolutely no other light. Absolutely none. And it has nothing to do with the resolution of the camera and what mode the camera may be in to capture that type of light. If you've got billions of stars out into free space, then, or even within atmosphere, even a cluster should be generating some sort of light, and you see absolutely nothing. And the only way that that's possible is if actually what you're looking at when you're up in altitude in space, which is beyond 328,000 feet, is you're looking at dark fluid and superfluid helium, because the only way a vehicle the size of a school bus or the size of a football field could be in geosync orbit performing those operations would be in a helium environment, a liquid fluid helium environment where the temperature is almost absolute zero. You can do it in a laboratory. That may be what's up above us.
And what kind of densities are you talking about?
Well, the densities are already stated with helium-4. Helium-4 I'm still trying, everyone's trying to wrap their head around how could it actually still stay a liquid at absolute zero. See, no one can answer that. And I've looked at every university paper I could possibly collect, and it can't be simulated. You can't get anything to absolute zero on Earth. We don't have the technical capability to do it. And you can't do it on the ISS because the ISS can't, you're in a microgravity environment. There's atmosphere. You can't create it in a vacuum either, because there is no such thing as a complete vacuum. And the reason why I say you can't do it in a vacuum is because the Glenn Research Center has the largest vacuum chamber in the world, but it's a contained environment. Meaning that you have walls, you have limits. You can't create a vacuum chamber large enough to duplicate the potential experiment to get close enough, because if you did, you'd probably suck half of NASA into that vacuum chamber if there was some sort of malfunction. It would be a massive implosion. And you can't contain superfluid helium even at close to absolute zero, for the simple fact that you have to create some sort of carbon nanotube type of container just to keep it in the container, because it wants to find its way out of what it's being contained in. And when you look at what Siri Nanosystems did in UK by creating Vanta Black, and you combine that with superfluid helium, and then you hear scientists are saying that dark matter, aka dark fluid, and you put the two together, you've got your space environment. That's the only way something the size of a football field and the size of a school bus could move around at potentially 5 times the speed of sound in a quasi-microgravity environment for as long as it is. Because what they're saying about superfluid helium is that there's these quantum vortices created, whirlpools, that are spinning at incredible speeds. And what happens is that when they release droplets of superfluid helium in this vacuum, what they witnessed and observed in a controlled experiment environment was that the droplets didn't break apart like normal water molecules would break apart. They remained together, and they formed a flattening ellipsoid egg-shaped type of form. And it started to make sense to me. Wait a minute. That's the only way these vehicles could be up there traveling at those speeds. Because if not, they'd come crashing down within years, not decades. Just some theoretical talk. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not a physicist. I'm working on my master's in applied physics, but trying to get an understanding. And Hubble is continuing to baffle me. Right now, they're showing the Hubble at the latitude is 20. What's the elevation? The altitude is 542 kilometers.
Yeah, okay, sounds about right.
So, but it's a software database, and I can tell you here right now, as a CUDA and GPU programmer and developer, I could create the same thing in a week to mirror this, and it wouldn't need to be real. It'd literally show a picture of me in a little Superman cape, saying, "Hey, this is where I am. I got my hands up. I've got a little tether on the Hubble, and I'm following it. And look at me, And people would. But here's the thing: if I showed you that and put it together in a week, you'd be like, "Oh, that's not real," But I want you to understand, as an up and coming research scientist, the average person, they look at this and they're like, "Oh, well, there goes the Hubble at 542 kilometers." But you show them something they don't know. They don't have even a basic or foundation understanding of how software development, programming, and computer graphic generated images and how you can actually program something to be in the sky that's really not there.
All right. Yeah.
So
Hollywood does it all the time.
no, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually taken advantage of you guys' software vault, where I can go online and download a lot of the software applications that's available for the technology transfer program. So, you know, it's just one of those things to where I would like to know if it's possible, if anyone I could speak to who's responsible for submitting the information to FAI, to see if maybe there was just an oversight or if it's a mistake, or, and I hate to say this, that maybe you've been sitting there for 25 years and there's what you think is up there is really not there, and it's actually the photos are being taken by Sophia, which is at 45,000 feet on a 747.
Sophia hasn't been flying nearly as long.
Well, the program, the Stratospheric Observatory program, has been in existence longer than Hubble.
But they haven't had anything flying for that long. I forget when Sophia's first.
No. Yeah, Sophia is not that old. It's been in existence, I think, since what, 2002 or something, or 2000. What was it? 2004. I think 2002 or 2004. But there were airborne telescope observatories being flown longer than Hubble. You got your own website shows the actual history of the Stratospheric Observatory program, and it actually began with balloons, because there's a satellite identical to Hubble, about 2/3 the size, that was launched from Antarctica on a balloon. There's a photo of that on the U.S. Antarctic website. They launch it from McMurdo.
Well, fine, but you know, the Hubble was taking data at wavelengths that neither Sophia nor the balloons can.
No.
achieve.
Sophia can take
So
photos in wavelength. Sophia can do the same thing as Hubble. Yeah. Sophia can do matter of fact, the telescope on Sophia is identical to Hubble. Everything that Hubble can do, Sophia can do.
no,
I mean, of course, the plane's got to land, but when it's in the air, it can literally conduct the same technical imagery capture and analysis data that Hubble can do. And of course, Hubble's 24/7. Sophia's not. But when it's in the air, when Sophia's been in the air, it literally has captured the same photos as Hubble, and that's how I was able to do the comparison. As a matter of fact, some of the pictures that Sophia captured were actually at a higher resolution and more clear than Hubble, which also, surprised me a little bit. How could something inside the stratosphere take a photo and do imagery through 3 or 4 different more layers of atmosphere when Hubble is literally supposed to be out in the exosphere where there's very little to no atmosphere, and it's capturing more light than Sophia is. I really hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong about Hubble, because I wouldn't want to be sitting next to you one day and you'd be really, really, really angry to find out that Hubble may not be there.
Well, it'd be quite a.
I know it would be shocking, but it would be shocking, but it just. I've already contacted FAI and I spoke to them, and they said it's not in their database, and they checked. It took them about a week to get back to me, and they looked through the entire database. It said they even looked to see if maybe it would have been erased or deleted by mistake, because they were able to check their log records, and there was never even anything submitted. There was nothing. I mean, why put the servicing missions in the record? I mean, you can go to FAI.org when we hang up. Just check the servicing missions for yourself. You'll see them there. But when you check for Hubble, STS-31, you enter in Charlie Bolden's name, all the crew members, nothing. Nothing. And FAI has been in existence longer than NASA. I mean, you know, Theodore von Karman was the one who helped create the database and established where space actually began. Of course, NASA puts it at 262,000 feet, and FAI puts it at 328,000, but that's neither here nor there. That's another question. How is it that DOD puts space at 262,000 and change in feet, but the rest of the world has it almost 90 to 100,000 feet higher? So where does space actually begin? Is it DOD standard or is it international standard?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that we've been studying the atmosphere since we could be able to do what we can do, and we're still trying to figure it out. What is actually up there and how it all works. And I think I'm not going to say I'd be applying for any kind of Nobel Science Prize, but I think I might have a more viable theory of how it may all be working.
Interesting. I'll be watching for it.
Because dark fluid.
I gotta go.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
I really appreciate it, Mike. I really appreciate it very much. I didn't think I'd be able to talk to anyone at all because I tried to call the project manager. When you click on pound to go to his number, and I click to the deputy project manager, Mr. Haskins, and the deputy project manager, Pat Krause, when I go to click on for their extensions, it just hangs up. Are they even working there anymore?
Yeah, they're still here. So what website are you looking at to get the numbers?
No, I didn't get the numbers. It just, I was given a number by the Goddard Center, and they told me to dial 2000, and it asks you to put in the prompts, press 3 for the directory. So I don't have your direct number. It says your extension. It says press this button to speak to this person. So
okay.
When you press the button, it doesn't go to them at all.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't explain that. Yeah.
Okie dokie. So
okay.
I really appreciate it, sir. I really do appreciate it. You have a good Memorial Day weekend, and stay safe.
You too.
Take care, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, people. You heard the conversation. You heard it. You heard it clear as day. This guy could not answer why the Hubble is not in the FAI.org database. They all said the same thing. NASA's Office of Inspector General, their special agent investigator says that's not a NASA website. We don't manage it. We don't operate it. We're not responsible for it. But they put all their other fucking missions in this database, but they didn't put Hubble. They put the servicing missions in the database, but they didn't put Hubble. This guy can't explain it at all. He said he's never fucking seen the Hubble. Never seen it. He's not even sure it's there. But I guarantee you, I got him fucking thinking. I got him seriously fucking thinking right now that there's a possibility he's been sitting at that desk for 25 fucking years. 25 years. 25 years. And now he's thinking, man, I just talked to this guy. Is it fucking possible? Could he be fucking right? That Hubble is not where it is? He couldn't even explain how the shuttle can actually get to this fucking thing. He says it has no jets, propulsion, no nothing. It loses altitude, people. It's been losing altitude since 2008. It may not even fucking be there, man. I knew more about their fucking program than they do. That's NASA for you people. That's fucking NASA. I gotta put together this video. I'm gonna post it on my site. And it's gonna be private. I have to put it private because I don't want any fucking problems right now. So let me see how I'm gonna do this, people. But you know my motto. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. And that, people, was the fucking phone call of the year. Peace out, people. Take care.